Hey, what's up, everybody? The VC here coming at you with another video about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table, and I'm always off the cuff. Alright, and so it's just basically talk about anything and everything, and just giving you my thoughts on things. That's just pretty much common sense. I mean, it is. I mean, come on, people. Stop being woke. Stop being nonsense, answering to different things that are just complete bullshit. It's like, come on now, really? So anyhow, let's just get to it. There's a lot going on. All right. So the thing I wanted to talk about towards is education based, I guess. Like for example, uh, one of the head guys here of protesting at Columbia University, for example. Showing the ICE arrest of him. All right. And let's see what happens here. All right.
These are the classic.
Because they were trying to justify that, oh, it's freedom of speech and all this other stuff, but yet, if you're talking about, you know, supporting a terrorist organization, Hamas, right, free Palestine and all that stuff, and at the same time, you are kind of, like saying death to America and all this other stuff. I mean, these sort of tones, especially you're in a country that's hosting you and you only have a green card. Who's not to say that you trash talk the country that's accepting you, that you don't get your ass booted out of here? So to me, it's common sense that it's just like illegals, right? You're here illegally, all right, you get the boot. Well, if you're talking trash of the country that's hosting you, and you're on a green card, student green card status, supporting domestic terrorism and terrorists, right, and Hamas, at the same time going along with this domestic terrorism, right, with racially charged motives, making it hard, being anti-Semitic towards Jews and all that, making it hard for students to just go to classes because you want to demonstrate some bullshit and hide behind masks and burqas and all this other stuff. I think you're lucky to be alive, because if you're in any other country, that'd be the end of it. You'll be in some dead or in some torture camp or something, thrown in prison, whatever, right? And the prison conditions outside the U.S. is not as friendly as prisons are here. So you just be lucky that you are blessed to still live. All right, and I'm not trying to make threats or nothing. It's just the reality of things.
Crew Trigs by Mott and Bow. By far my favorite tees. So comfortable. They hide.
What? You're going to be under arrest. So turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around.
Okay,
stop resisting.
let's not.
Stop resisting.
Okay, he's not resisting. He's giving me his phone. Okay, he's not. I understand. He's not resisting.
Put your arm down.
Like,
You're not following instructions, you dumb fuck.
You're going to have to come with us. Don't worry. I'm coming with you. Don't worry.
No one's resisting, no one's getting worked up.
you guys really don't need to be doing all of that.
Oh yeah, we'll just walk them out and
They'll send fake.
fuck out of here, bitch.
Okay. Hi, Amy. Yeah, they just like handcuffed him and took him. I don't know what to do.
He was supporting domestic terrorism, bitch.
Okay. And what should I do? I don't know.
Soft ass bitch.
Nor. Let me ask. Can we get a name, please? Can we get your name? I understand the lawyer is asking for your name.
Go over there. No, we don't give our name.
The lawyer's asking for your name. He's saying they don't give their names.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They'll be taken to immigration custody at 26 Federal Plaza.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
They'll be taken to immigration custody at 26 Federal Plaza.
She said they're taking him to 26 Federal Plaza. Can you please specify what agency is taking him, please? Excuse me. They're not talking to me. I don't know. I don't know. Excuse me. The lawyer would like to speak to somebody. Oh my God, they're literally like running away from me.
Ah, funny shit. I mean, hey, if you are, I mean, you know what he did. I mean, he's pushing this sort of domestic terrorism agenda on campuses, or just on campus. So what do you expect? I mean, it is what it is. All right, so let's see what Tom Holman has to say here.
Borders are. Tom Holman joins us now. You have so many different areas. You talked about a whole of government approach. Can we talk about the campus unrest? The NYPD has got to be kept on the outside for the most part until the insurrectionists take over.
And here's the thing too. The campuses have said that they've been already starting to expel students from that. From the occupation and the protesting and all that went out of control. So that was something that was being said. See, they already were expelling students from those incidents. So let's take a look at these real quick before we see Tom Holman.
Oh, sorry, man.
You.
We all bring something different to the table.
Every time I'm trying to show
Ben's
some footage.
original. We're all original recipes.
Tonight, Columbia University taking action against dozens of students involved in protests last year. The students taking over part of a campus building. The school tonight saying it has expelled the students or suspended them, and in some cases, temporarily revoked their degrees. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim live tonight outside the campus. Stefan?
Maybe they're getting a lot of pressure.
Well, Sade, the students on this campus are fully aware that what they say on the record can have a lasting impact on their lives. These are Ivy League students after all. But what they did feel comfortable sharing with us tonight is that they feel this administration is failing them, and it's made them afraid to speak out.
Fuck out of here.
This was the NYPD retaking control of Hamilton Hall on Columbia University's campus after pro-Palestinian demonstrators seized the building and barricaded themselves inside. That was last April. Tonight, the school announcing it expelled or suspended some of those students and temporarily revoked the diplomas of some who have since graduated. Many students still uneasy with all of it.
Like, there has to be some form of consequence. I don't think that anyone should be flat out, suspended.
Well, then what do you do? Like, some form of punishment was so to send a message so they don't do some bullshit like that again. You gotta do what was done: expel or pull degrees, or just simply just get booted altogether. Well, that's just what it is. You're done. There should be no tolerance of something like that to get out of control. If you want to do peacefully and stand there, whatever. But to take over halls, to break things, to do all this stupid shit, make it hard for students to go to class, be anti-Semitic, right? Racially going after, especially like Jews and all that was happening at that time. But just targeting different groups, different races, you got to have consequences. Sorry, dude.
It's tricky, right?
I wish that the staff was more willing to talk about it, specifically the professors, because it feels like they're so much.
Why? Because they're so liberal leaning that they're going to continue to use rhetoric that is soft and liberal, and they would probably encourage the fight and the protest and all that, but yeah, it's just a mess altogether. And in a college environment, you can't really speak about conservative-leaning things without getting your head chewed off, because it's so wrong to be conservative that colleges don't welcome a conversation altogether.
Fear from administration around maybe they're losing their jobs, or
Yeah.
or like if they speak out about this.
I don't like Trump, but it's a flagrant violation of school rules. If that's the policy, then that's the policy. There's not much they can do about it.
I think part of that is due to the pressure from Trump.
It, of course, comes in the heels of the Trump administration stripping the university of more than $400 million in federal funds over what it describes as the college's inaction against widespread campus anti-Semitism. The university did not provide a breakdown of how many students were disciplined, only saying in a campus-wide email that sanctions against dozens of students were based on the severity of behaviors. Meanwhile, earlier today, inside Trump Tower, protesters were arrested after filling the gilded atrium, demanding the release of Mahmoud Khalil, the campus activist and graduate student arrested by ICE agents. This as the Council on American Islamic Relations filed a federal lawsuit against Colombia and the House of Representatives for calling for the release of thousands of student records as part of an investigation into anti-Semitism on college campuses.
Allowing Congress and institutions like Colombia and others to target you or someone else because of a viewpoint you hold is an epic danger to American values.
Yeah, I mean, they should pull green cards and student visas and all that all together if you are a part of all that nonsense. That, yeah, you should just pull all that, because it's a privilege to come into the country, to get to education and to live here and all that, on a resident status or a work status. So if you were to it's the same thing. Like, if you were to commit some sort of, criminal record, it's the same thing. You get it removed. What's the difference with this sort of violent domestic terrorism protest? It's the same thing. You get your shit pulled out. You're done. Get out of here. Go do that shit in your own country.
Columbia, for its part, declined to comment further. Meanwhile, tomorrow, outside the campus, right here outside these gates, demonstrators plan to rally again in support of Khalil and Palestine. Reporting live outside of Columbia University, Stefan Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Fuck, man. Freedom for Palestine, that's supporting Hamas, right? Come on. Like, stupid. Yeah, keep protesting, right? It's nonsense. To free an activist that supports a terrorist organization. Yeah. No, get the fuck out of here, right? Let's look at this right here. I thought this was kind of funny too. Yeah, legal immigrants are welcome. Yeah, cross the line, fools. Hope you get arrested, man. Dumb fucks. Yeah, man, people are just stupid. It's just because, things are changing, we're doing the right thing for a change, and not tolerating some crap that we've been dealing with all these years. That this sends a message, and it to me, you got to think twice before you act like a fool, and that's what's happening here. Yeah, so you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't just sit here and platform yourself into saying all this shit and trash in America, that's, you're in, and expect no repercussions. So yeah, get the fuck out of here, So that's what it is in my thoughts on that. See, protesters are on national mall call for Trump impeachment. Get out of here, man. Second protester arrested, one self-deports. So tensions rise as a second Colombia protester arrested, another self-deports. Love it. Yeah, go ahead. All you guys self-deport. All right? Because if you can't handle, stuff that goes on in your own home country, then don't be crying about it here. Go cry back in your country and do something about it. Like, if you're so, free Palestine and, supporting Hamas, then go there and do the very thing that you are, crying about, right? If that Khalil dude really is so, adamant about all that stuff, then go there and fight with Hamas, right? Because you're all about free Palestine, and join the resistance there and go ahead. All right? Do your thing. Why you got to cry about it here? What's the point of talking about it? Go ahead and act on it. All right, dummies? So, clowns. These people are clowns. All right? Yeah, don't, do your shit over there. So, yeah. It's just, funny shit, though. Let's see what's going on
over
here.
a lobby like Trump Tower. What is the plan to stop others like Mahmoud Khalil?
Well, I agree with one point she made. It is a shot over the bow. He's the first of many. They may have got away with that in the Biden administration, but they're not going to get away with it under the Trump administration. When you come to this country either on a visa or you become a resident alien, that's a privilege.
Yes,
but with that privilege comes certain rules.
Yes.
You can't violate law. You can't go out and call for the annihilation of Israel and take over college campus and take over college building and destroy government property. You can't hand out literature supporting a terrorist organization. So the Trump administration made it clear. President Trump's made it clear. We're not going to allow this under this administration. You're going to be held accountable. So again, I'll say this. His attorney ought to read the law. The Secretary of State has a lot of discretion when it comes to someone who says and does things that is in direct conflict with our foreign policy and supporting a terrorist organization. So he was arrested for the right reason. Yeah. And God help us in the very near future, we get through the court proceeding, he'll be gone. But he's the first of many, Brian. This is going to continue. Yeah, we're going to set a tone in this country that it's a privilege to be here, and you can't sympathize with terrorists while being on a visa.
And going to his background, number one, he's a 31-year-old student living on campus. I mean, enough with the green card, and we'll see what goes on there. You guys did such a brilliant job after 9/11, tracking down the money of these terrorist organizations. I believe by following the line of money that's funding these protests on these campuses, we might be able to get to something behind there that might even be Hamas itself. Do you sense the same thing? Are you pursuing the funding of these protesters?
Yeah, first of all, this guy here is just not what he said, is what he did. I want to make that clear. He's done a lot of things. It's just not what he says, so the attorney's wrong on that. It's his actions in addition to things he said. But you're right. This is being funded by somebody, and it's being investigated. And we're going to hold those people accountable.
Yeah, it's pretty well organized. It's not organic, and just kind of just sprouted out of, he talked to one, he talked to no. It was very well organized. So when it's something well organized, it's definitely funded. So yeah, definitely follow, where the money is at, and track it down, and you'll find that source. It'd be interesting to see if Soros is anywhere connected to any of that stuff,
Well, too. So, this administration is going to dive deep into anything that's terrorist related. President Trump, the game changer, greatest president of my lifetime, first one to come in and say, criminal cartels who've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined, they're now being designated terrorists. So we're going to take this seriously, and we're going to drive this down. So you better believe we're going to open.
If this was a Kamala administration, none of this would be happening right now, which is sad. All right, think about this. None of this be happening right now. Domestic terrorism would be running rampant. and the list goes on and on about how bad things truly are. You know, in terms of just to carry over from the Biden administration, it would have just been all bad right now. And no solutions. What Trump is doing is shaking many feathers, right? And at the same time, you know, you need to implode, right? And almost start at the bottom to realize how you get to the top. You know what I'm saying? You know, to come to all that, right? And it's what you got to do, you know. And all this is still cleaning up a Biden mess when you dig down to the root of everything. So yeah, it might be hard, it might be tough because of some decisions that Trump is making or pushing the line on. But as you give it more time and time goes by, the effectiveness of what he is deciding and implementing is going to reap results and benefits that you just don't see it at the moment for some of the things, not everything. And you'll realize, like, damn, you know, he made the right call for these things, you know, in general.
Every nick and cranny to find anybody involved.
All right, enough of that. So, yeah, all these people should get arrested, and if they're on a green card or student visa, which most of them probably are, right? You probably don't see many, you know, probably, if any, just a handful of supportive, you know, American-born Americans in these protests, maybe. You know, especially for this whole Free Palestine stuff, right? But probably a majority are on student visas or green card status and all that. And you should just uproot every one of them. If they're non-resident students, all right, deport them. Green card, whatever, remove it, deport them, right? If they are just American students, just going to college and being a part of this, you know, nonsense, then, you know, expel. That's it. So simple. I mean, you know, enough is enough. You know, this is not some Biden bullshit. You know, so yeah, enough is enough. Get them all out. All right. So good. It's good to see it. And it should be happening, and it probably will be happening on campuses all over the country that was doing all this. Columbia made it a show, but there are other campuses in the U.S. that were doing it. I think like USC or something like that was doing that too. All right, and yeah, get them all. All right, my alma mater. I didn't hear much about it, but if they were doing the same thing but on a smaller scale, SF State, shit, go after them too. I mean, hit them all up. All right, and so that way you can send a message. Let's see here. What else we got going on? All right. Let me see here. There was a couple other things I took notice of. I mean, it made headlines, but it got sidestepped quickly because of this whole Columbia stuff. The dismantling of the Department of Education. Where's that at? See, like it was only talked about for maybe like a day. But I like this self-deported, you know, pretty funny. Arrested. Hey, it is what it is, right? Let's see here. Department of Education. Let's go see here. Yeah, the Department of Education has begun, right, in terms of being dismantled. Good. So they axed 50% of the staff, closing offices. Let's take a look at this.
The Department of Education will be closed all day today due to, quote, security reasons. This after the department cut nearly 50% of the staff. Here's what Education Secretary Linda McMahon had to say about it.
Well, clearly we're not taking away education. The president never said that. He's taking the bureaucracy out of education so that more money flows to the states. Better education is closest to the kids, with parents, with local superintendents, with local school boards. I think we'll see our scores go up with our students when we can educate them with...
Yeah, so it's the same thing with abortion, right? Like Trump wants to do is, abortion, leave it up to the states, and the states decide what to do. He's saying that federal government shouldn't be involved in abortion matters, right? Life, change decision like that. Same with education. And he says rather than have this federal bureaucracy and waste of money running this Department of Education, leave it up to state on how they would run and organize it, because every state has their own department for education that just comes from federal and is delegated to state anyway. So rather than have anything come federally, just have the state run that shit.
Parental input as well.
All right, the Wall Street Journal's Kim Strassel joins me now. Kim, is this how this looks like the first step towards getting rid and abolishing the Department of Education entirely? Is that where we're going?
Department of Education is trash
let's hope
anyways.
So, Stu. I've heard some critics of the Education Department, the Federal Education Department, call this an experiment in federal control on education. I think that's too generous, because in experiments, you don't know what's going to happen. It was always clear from when the Department of Education was created, it was a payoff to the unions by Jimmy Carter for their political endorsements, and it was set up and has served as a handmaiden for teacher union priorities ever since. It's not about the kids. This is about making state and districts.
Yeah, so it hasn't even been around that long. It's only been around, 40 years, roughly? Not quite, 35 years. 35 years that it's been around. Right? 35 or 40 years? Let's see. It's only been around since the late 70s, so you get what I'm saying. Maybe it's 40 years then, huh? But anyhow, the point of it is that exactly what she said, right? It's not about the students when they created this Department of Education. It's all just for the teachers and the union in a collaborative effort to pay, the staffing of it, right? And you know who really took that and really make it a bigger deal? Like in the media, Brandon Johnson of Chicago, the Chicago mayor. He's part of the teachers union there. He only went on leave when he became mayor, so he never left his position within the teachers union of Chicago. So once his mayorship ends, he goes right back to where he was without losing his spot. So all this stuff with Brandon Johnson, all right, is exactly what she just said. All right, let's listen to it again.
It was a payoff to the unions by Jimmy Carter for their political endorsements, and it was set up and has served as a handmaiden for teacher union priorities ever since. It's not about the kids. This is about making state and districts run and chase after federal dollars that lock them into best practices. Most of that money is used to pay the salaries of DOE or to require these districts to hire more middle management that fill out all the grant applications.
Everything is exactly what she said, right? So Brandon Johnson, all right, that's everything that Brandon Johnson has done when it comes down to their budget issues that they're dealing with right now in Chicago, right? Everything he's trying to squeeze for in terms of funding was towards paying off the teachers union, which he gets a kickback of anyways, because he never officially left the position. And he did so by, I think he did it by bond measures to pass the budget, because nobody wanted property tax increases. Nobody wanted any sort of taxing, right, But yet he still wanted a fund for illegals. He still wanted to find a way to pay the teachers union. And so they just passed a budget on that very thing with, let's look this up. Brandon Johnson and let's see, something to do with the Chicago budget, right? Let's see here. What's the newest one here? This is all like old news. There's no, they talked about having bonds passed. Let me see that. There we go. 2 weeks ago, they nearly passed $830 million bond deal. Yeah, they barely passed that. So he borrowed money by saying it's for infrastructure, but digging down deep into it, it's more for paying the teachers union and all that stuff. That was the biggest thing he was trying to fight for, was to pay through the teachers union. All right, so I don't know if this has anything to do with the budget, I guess. And these bonds are interest-only payments till 2045. But that was the thing, though. They're disguising, or he's disguising it as infrastructure improvements. They barely passed the budget, I guess, in December. But it didn't have any of that stuff that he really wanted for his teachers union. And so that's what he did with his bonds here. All right, so that's what happened there. Let's see, where's my thing at here? Shit, where's it at? There it is.
And lock these districts into doing these federal requirements, and it doesn't allow them to actually focus on their own kids. So at the very least, I don't think he can get rid of all of this money on his own, but, you know, block grant it, give states total ability to make their own decisions about how they're going to use it to better.
And again, Brandon Johnson is up an opponent of, you know, shutting down the Department of Education. He's an opponent of that. He doesn't support it, obviously. He wants the Department of Education still open. So that proves that even though they're trying to leave it to state by state to make those sort of decisions, you know, I don't see what the problem is with that. But, you know, that it's just it's exactly what you said, just a waste of money to pay off the teachers and teachers union.
Their education scores. That's not what's happened for more than 40 years.
I sense that the teachers union may be on the way out within a few years. What do you think?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Well, look, this is a major source of their power. And then if you look out, what we've seen is that COVID and the lockdowns and school closures were a huge wake-up call for parents. They are now re-engaged. They are calling. We have had this massive school choice movement spreading across the states and all kinds of innovation going on there. Now another piece of it is to deal with public education. And right now, again, one of the straitjackets to those districts getting creative about how they do things is the Department of Education.
Yeah, it is. The University of Pennsylvania is freezing some hiring, reviewing capital spending as well. They face funding cuts from Trump over anti-Semitism on campus. Now, Kim, earlier this morning, we had a professor from Columbia on our program. Here's what he said about anti-Semitism on campus. Roll tape.
What we have on our campuses, and it's not just Columbia University, it is not just the Ivy League. We are seeing decades of indoctrination against not just Israel and the allies of America. Not just anti-Semitism, but indoctrination in the classrooms. Professors who are brainwashing the minds of the future leaders of America against the West. It does remind me of the 1930s in terms of the brainwashing,
I've been saying that
the mindless
all this time
of Hamas and Hezbollah.
Okay, so now we're taking the money away. Will that finally root out anti-Semitism?
I've been saying that anytime I talked about college on any of my videos, I've been saying these are indoctrination camps, that they make it sound like the progressiveness and liberal reasonings of things is the best way to go. And I fell for that too, right? But as you start to build your career and your life and family and all that stuff that you build up, you start to realize that progressive liberal causes is really bad. It's just bad, really bad. And it's more of a wake-up call as you live life beyond the college campuses and all that, when you're actually, like I said, you have a career and you pay bills and all that, and you realize, wow, all that stuff they're saying doesn't do anything except harm you in terms of how you think about things
on our college campuses.
I think it's a better shot than anything that's come up until now, Stu. I mean, if you think about it, look, we've hauled these people in front of Congress. Presidents have issued warnings. The communities of these universities and parents have complained, and nothing really has happened. Now, the one thing that did seem to get their attention was when donors started to say, we're not going to give money anymore. And this is one of the merits of pulling back federal dollars, too, because it increases and enhances the seriousness of that. I mean, by the way, Stu, I think people were mesmerized to see that $400 million to Colombia from the federal government. Like, what on earth is all that money going for and funding? But at the very least, if we are going to be that generous, they should be complying with civil rights law, for instance, and doing something to make sure that their campus is indeed safe for everyone who attends.
Makes you think about how much money is being spent on all, like all campuses in the United States. Like, how much is allocated towards college campuses? I'm curious. I got to look that up. I mean, think about cutting all that, or just a portion of it. Like, it must be huge when you think about it. Like, $400 million to Columbia, I mean, that's just one college campus. Like, think about how much to all, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the United States, it's like shit.
But the professor did make the point that the scientists and the engineers, they've not been infected by anti-Semitism. It is the humanities. That's where anti-Semitism lives. Last word to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to make those distinctions, but fundamentally, maybe we need pushback from those departments to get change in the other departments that aren't listening and getting the message.
Good point. Kim Strassel, thanks.
Look at this right here.
My whole career, I was pretty much bald, so people just got to know me as being a bald guy. I did wonder what it would be like if I could have hair.
It's Saturday. It's 40 past the hour. Welcome back. The U.S. Department of Education launching an investigation into 52 universities on Friday, accusing the schools of using racial preferences in programs. This as the Education Department terminates nearly half of its workforce as part of the ongoing DOGE cuts. News Nation's Alina Shirazi is live in Washington, D.C. Good morning, Alina. You've done a deep dive on what the Department of Education actually does. What are you learning from your reporting?
Yeah, Hannah, good morning. We did do a deep dive into all of this, and we found the Department of Education mainly operates at the larger scale when looking at terms of things like enforcing laws and funding. Trump has said he wants to put education back into the hands of states. But let us break down, exactly what that means for Americans at home. A lot of you might be wondering what the impact is going to be in the classroom, how this might impact teachers and students as well in their lesson plans. The cuts, we know, do not actually impact curriculum and learning standards because those are already handled at the state level. The government must also administer student loan programs, grants, and make sure schools that receive federal money do not discriminate against students. This is all under Title IV of the Higher Education Act of 1965.
Okay, so we know what's not going to be touched. What are some things that will be affected as a result of these changes?
Yeah, Hannah, we've also looked into some of the losses that students and families could see as a result of this. A lot of them really direct impact from these staffing losses. One of the big concerns is actually for students with disabilities as well as low-income children. These cuts don't actually affect the amount of funds available to them, but if there isn't the right amount of staff or people working to make sure that the money is distributed properly, then students could certainly be impacted as a result of all this. The Federal Student Aid Office and the Office for Civil Rights as well, which protects teachers and students from discrimination, are two departments that were most affected in all of this. So the payment of loans and student aid might not be as efficient. Now, elected officials have been very outspoken about these cuts. Here's Republican West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore talking about how she expects cuts will be helpful, while Democratic Congressman Mark Takano from California says they will hurt American students.
It will be better for the local
I don't want to hear what they got to say. All right. I'm moving on. Fascinating. This whole track runner thing. Since we're talking about education, this is on, this is high school here, event sports here. I talked about this the other day about, this whole track runner incident. Now things have ramped up because I guess she got arrested, I believe, for this, I guess you could say, assault. And NAACP is calling it racist, even though it's a black on black crime. I mean, what's so racist about it? You know what I'm saying? That's why I said the other day that they're stuck at a rock and a hard place because what can they do, right? Who are they going to support? It's black on black, right? But I think what they were trying to support is to just let bygones be bygones type of thing. But yet one side of the family is like, no, this is wrong. It's a crime. I got hit in the back of the head here. You can't just do it and get away with it. Whereas the other side's like, I'm innocent. It was purely by accident, even though she's not apologetic about it. She was like, I didn't mean to do it. I was just sprinting, and as I was running, and my forward motion almost got it caught in her hair, and so it looked like I was whacking her, even though I wasn't whacking her. And it's actually pretty funny, actually, in her explanation of it. But yet she's not apologizing. She's not saying nothing like, it was a mistake on my part, blah 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 blah. She tried to justify her actions that made it look like she did it, but she didn't actually do it, type of thing. When she actually did do it, I don't know. It's just funny to me. We could talk about that more in another video, but yeah. Now she's being charged. All right, and I didn't know it was this bad. A skull fracture now, so. That's crazy. But anyhow, I just wanted to give you my thoughts on that one. Enough of this stuff for today. Arrests are happening. Go ahead. Keep being anti-Israel and support terrorist organizations like Hamas. And storm into the tower, Trump Tower, and, keep doing your shit and, get arrested. If you're a student, you get deported. And if you really are that supportive of that, then go there to that country and support your people. All right, don't do it on our ground. Go over there. Just go there and support your people, and then that would be the solution. All right, enough of that. Comment down below. Subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Rumble. And comment down below. Thanks. I'll see you next one.